Chosen one, halt where you stand. The veil between realms just tore open, and the silence from above screams louder than any sermon you have ever heard. Right now, the hosts of heaven, those ceaseless waves of fire whose worship sustains the cosmos, have fallen utterly still. Their symphony has ceased. Their wings, which beat in perfect eternal rhythm, are folded in stunned reverence. Every eye is fixed, not on the throne, but on you. They watch the crushing weight of your decisions settle upon your shoulders, and they could hardly believe what they saw. In an age when multitudes flood through the wide gates of compromise, you stood. While the world chases the fleeting shadow of comfort, you embraced the narrow, thorn-crowned road, and the foundations of heaven were shaken by your choice. You may think no one noticed. You may believe the prayers you whispered in the blackest hour of night were just words vanishing into the ceiling, lost in the gale of temptation. But the truth is something other. In the unseen realm, your whispered yes was louder than thunder, clearer than a trumpet blast across eternity. Angels, whose gazes have beheld the creation of stars, looked upon one another with an awe reserved for the rarest miracles. Why? Because you chose obedience when every cell in your body screamed for rebellion. You resisted when surrender to the darkness seemed not only easier, but logical. You thought your obedience was a solitary spark, a fragile flame cupped against the storm. But heaven replayed it in slow motion, and the hosts gasped. The throne room fell into a golden hush as seraphim exchanged glances of holy shock. Your quiet prayer, offered from a place of desperation, detonated like a celestial bomb, and its shockwave reached the very heart of heaven. They whispered among themselves, "This fragile clay vessel just toppled principalities with a single breath of surrender. This is the divine jolt your spirit has been waiting for, the rod of iron shaking loose the chains you thought were permanent." The world continues its feverish chase for hollow things, its masses swallowed by the illusion of safety. But your choice carved a new reality. Your raw, gut-wrenching decision to stand firm became a blaze of light against the backdrop of a dying world. It became a beacon, a defining moment that echoed backwards and forwards through time. You are no footnote in eternity's ledger. You are the bold stroke that redrew the map of destinies for generations to come. If this divine interruption stirs your spirit, if you feel the truth of this heavenly standstill in your bones, drop 122 in the comments right now. Let it be an echo of Romans 12:2, a prophetic declaration that your mind is being renewed, that your steps are now divinely etched. Smash that like button to fan this flame across the shadows, and subscribe to lock arms with this family of firewalkers who live under heaven's unblinking stare. Now, let me pull back the curtain on what those stunned wings beheld. I see it now. The angels' feathers trembling as the shockwave of your choice hit the throne room. They were mid-worship, a constant blaze of adoration when your night vigils erupted into their reality. Picture it. Seraphim, whose very being is liquid fire, saw their own flames flicker to embers. They leaned in, their eternal song caught in their throats, as the sound of your tears carving rivers down your face echoed louder than their hallelujahs. They watched you on your knees in the suffocating silence of your room, when the cost of obedience felt like your own death, and they saw your spirit whisper, "I still choose you." That whisper shattered the complacency of fallen stars. It was a sound that made Lucifer's ancient pride crumble anew, a fresh reminder of the power he forfeited, the power of a surrendered will. Your obedience became a lantern lit on a stormy shore. The sea of this age rages. The wind of deception screams. The night is pitch black, swallowing hope whole. But your single solitary flame shines, and sailors far out on the water, believers adrift in the confusion of these end times, their compasses spinning wildly, suddenly know the way home. They may never know your name, but they will find the harbor because you refused to let your light be extinguished. Your stand was never just for you. It was a defiant landmark against the coming tide, a demarcation point in the spiritual geography of this final hour. That stand felt like anything but a victory at the time. The angels saw the reality of it. They witnessed the nights you laid awake, staring into the darkness, your heart a frantic drum against your ribs, as a legion of what-ifs assaulted your mind. They saw you pace the floor, the cold wood a comfort against your burning feet, trying to walk off an anxiety so thick it felt like a physical presence in the room. They heard the arguments in your head, the seductive logic of compromise whispering that your resistance was pointless, that one person could not make a difference, that God had surely forgotten you. They watched you fight the urge to pick up the phone and surrender, to send the text that would have ended the pressure, to simply give in and feel the blessed relief of belonging, even if it meant betraying your soul. Your stand was not a single heroic moment, but 1,000 tiny, agonizing paper cuts of resistance, each one a testament to a faith that refused to die, even when it could no longer feel a pulse. Do not be deceived. An act of such purity does not go unchallenged. Darkness rages because your light exposes its fractures. Your solitary flame is a judgment against the shadows, heralding the great unveiling where all half-hearted thrones will topple and every hidden compromise will be dragged into the light. The enemy howls, not in strength, but in the agony of being seen. He had marked you for ruin, certain your isolation would lead to capitulation. Instead, your solitude became the very altar upon which you offered your fiercest worship, and the scent of it is a torment to him. He sees the beacon you have become and knows that his grip is weakening, his territory shrinking with every breath of obedience you take. So stand in this truth. You are the unyielding diamond, shaken free from the dust of conformity and obscurity. Heaven knows your name. Hell fears it, for it is now etched in heaven's unerasable fire. You were not chosen because you were flawless or mighty. You were chosen not despite your frailty, but through it. Your weakness was the canvas upon which God painted his most shocking victory, the very thing that caused the angels to stand still, stunned into silence, marveling at the beautiful, terrifying power of a human heart that chooses God in the dark. The angels' shock then shifted, deepening into a new kind of awe as their gaze moved beyond you and into the corridors of time. They witnessed the generational ripples of your decision. They beheld the iron yokes, forged in the fires of ancestral compromise and cooled with the tears of generations, not just bend, but splinter into dust at the hammer strike of your obedience. They watched as curses that had coiled like ancient serpents around your family tree, whispering lies of addiction, poverty, and fear into the ears of your ancestors, suddenly went limp. The angels saw their heads crushed, their venom spilling harmlessly into the void, as your single yes redirected the rivers of your inheritance, turning a flow of poison into a torrent of living water. You may not see it yet. You may still feel the phantom ache of chains that are no longer there, but in the unseen realm, a great reversal has taken place. Think of it this way. Your obedience was a stone dropped into the silent lake of your bloodline. The angels are not watching the stone. They are watching the ripples. They see waves of blessing moving outward, washing over the futures of your children and your children's children. They see these waves forming a protective barrier, a seawall that will fortify your unborn heirs against the apocalyptic floods of deception that are set to drown the unprepared in the coming days. Your single choice has become their future refuge. Your lonely stand has become their unbreachable fortress. But be vigilant. The war for your lineage is not over. It has simply entered a new phase. You must be aware of the ghost whispers of old patterns clawing their way back from the grave. In these last days, as the shadows lengthen, family lines are becoming the final battlegrounds for the souls of men. The enemy will try to lure you back with the familiar comfort of the chains he once owned. He will send echoes of old pains, old habits, and old fears to test the reality of your freedom. Do not be fooled. The chain is broken. His only power now lies in convincing you to pick it up again. This is your new identity. You stand as the scarred oak that towers over the forest, your roots drinking deep from eternal streams while other trees wither. The promise of Psalm 1:3 is now the very pulse in your veins. A leaf that does not wither, a life that prospers not in riches, but in purpose. You have been chosen to do more than survive your history. You have been chosen to end it and begin something new. You are the pioneer of freedom's dawn for your entire bloodline. Now the angels delved into the alchemy of your pain, and their awe turned to holy reverence. They are not strangers to the grief of exile. They still remember the tearing sound of Lucifer's rebellion, the shock of a brother's fall from light into eternal night. It is a sorrow woven into their very being. This is why they gaped in astonishment as they watched you endure your own betrayals. They saw the knives sent from the hands of kin, the doors bolted shut by the laughter of mockers, and they expected you to shatter. They braced for the sound of your spirit cracking under the strain. Instead, they watched as the fire of that rejection tempered you, turning the fragile clay of your heart into radiant, unbreakable gold. They watched as bitterness coiled like smoke, rising to choke you, yet you exhaled the pure incense of forgiveness. You turned your deepest wounds into a consecrated altar, and the worship that rose from that place of pain was a fragrance heaven had not known before. It is one thing for the whole to sing, it is another for the broken to offer a symphony. The angels have seen countless souls crumble under the weight of betrayal, but you chose the harder, holier path. You did not let rejection pull you into rebellion. You let it push you closer to the throne, and the hosts of heaven stood in stunned silence at the beautiful, terrible strength of your surrender. They see the echo of Joseph in your story. What your brothers buried in a pit of envy, God has exhumed as the very foundation of your destiny's throne. Every act of rejection was not a punishment. It was heaven's chisel, carving away all that was not royal, all that was not eternal. The scars you tried to hide are the very grooves where the king's image has been unveiled, for all the unseen realm to behold. This is the redirection the angels celebrate. What people thought was your end became the beginning of your true unveiling. This divine chiseling was excruciating. The angels watched as you replayed conversations in your mind, searching for the misstep that had earned you the cold shoulder, the silence, the sudden exclusion from the circle. They saw you question your own worth, wondering if the flaws others pointed out were the whole truth of you. This rejection was a surgical tool designed by the enemy to sever your confidence and bleed your spirit dry. He wanted you to become a ghost, afraid to take up space, your voice shrinking to a permanent whisper of apology. But heaven's counter-strategy was already in motion. The pain that was meant to isolate you forced you into a deeper communion with God than you had ever known. The silence from others trained your ear to hear the frequency of His voice alone. The loneliness that should have broken you became a holy wilderness, a sacred meeting place where your true identity was spoken over you, away from the confusing noise of human opinion. The enemy's poison became your antidote. Heed this warning, for it is for these twilight hours. As the alliances of earth fracture like dry bones and the great deceptions intensify, isolation will sharpen into the enemy's finest scalpel. He will use it to try and cut you away from the body, to make you believe you are forgotten. But heaven sees it differently. That same scalpel in the hands of God carves out the space for His whisper to become a thunderclap in your soul. You are the lightning-scarred sentinel, your branches broken but clawing their way heavenward. The promise of Psalm 27:10 has become your shield. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. You have been forsaken by the flesh only to be forever received by the eternal arms. You were chosen to be the redirection's arrow, shot from the bow of betrayal, not to fall to the ground, but to fly higher and strike a target the world never even knew existed. The angel's astonishment has now been forged into action. Heaven does not spectate, it responds. The moment your yes was recorded, it did not just earn a heavenly witness, it dispatched an army. I see it now. New orders were given in the throne room, mandates scrawled in throne flame and handed to waiting seraphim. The angels who had stood watching in awe received fresh assignments. They were dispatched like fire arrows from a celestial bow, their wings beating with a new and urgent purpose. They now moved to guard the very choice that left them stunned. Seraphim, still reeling from the power of your decision, unfurl their wings to encircle you, their swords flashing with freshly inscribed orders. Shield this one's flame, shatter the snares before they can ever be sprung. This is the living reality of Psalm 91:11. It is not a dusty promise. It is an active military command, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They precede your steps, turning thorns into pathways, transforming the enemy's ambush into a table of ambrosia. The accident that never happened, the sudden provision that made no sense, the inexplicable peace that descended in a moment of chaos. These are not coincidences. These are the footprints of your mobilized guard, the evidence of their mission. You walk, but you are never alone. An invisible phalanx moves with you, its presence a silent, terrifying warning to the forces of darkness. Your obedience did not just call them to watch, it called them to war on your behalf. Their assignments are meticulously specific. They are not just a vague shield. They are celestial strategists and engineers of divine appointments. The angels saw the lie taking root in your mind, a seed of despair planted by a careless word, and they were dispatched to orchestrate an encounter, a scripture, a sudden memory of a past victory that would uproot the lie just before it bore fruit. They saw the relational trap being set for you down the road, a seemingly perfect opportunity that would lead to a devastating compromise, and they moved ahead of you to sovereignly shut that door, leaving you confused in the moment but saved from a future you could not see. They stand guard over your sleep, contending with nightmares sent to drain your strength for the coming day. They war against the atmospheric heaviness that tries to settle on your home. This is the unseen, intricate, and relentless activity that your single yes commanded into motion. You feel the battle, but you do not see the full scale of the war being waged and won in the heavens for your sake. But understand this: when heaven mobilizes, hell retreats in a fury. The demons that once mocked your weakness now scatter like ash in a gale-force wind at the scent of your angelic escort. Yet their retreat is a feint, not a surrender. Do not be fooled by the sudden silence. Their jealousy over your anointing now births hybrid horrors in the shadows. They are regrouping in the gathering dusk of these last days, studying your victory to devise a more subtle deception. Your protection is not a license for recklessness. You must flee to the fortress of submission, moment by moment, lest they find an unguarded opening in your pride. Their rage is real, but it is the rage of the defeated. You are no longer just a soldier in the battle. You have become the battle plan itself. Your identity has shifted. You are a decree-inscribed scroll, the honored name from Malachi 3:16, now glowing on your spirit for all of heaven to see. You were chosen not as a spectator to the end times war, but as the very pivot point where the archives of heaven bend down to touch and renew the earth. The angels are not just guarding you, they are guarding a royal decree that lives and breathes inside of you. The angel's awe now culminates in the final act of this divine drama, your coronation. They beheld the mantle descend upon you, not a cloth of earthly weave, but a garment of fire, invisible to the mortal eye, yet incendiary in the spirit realm. This was not a promotion you earned, but a destiny you accepted. They watched as a crown was placed upon your head in the hidden chambers of heaven, a coronet crafted not from gold mined from the earth, but from the gold of your grit, set with the diamond gems of your tears. The flame you now carry is not a spark you kindled yourself. It is a blaze that was God-breathed, a fire that defies the gales of this age that have quenched so many lesser lights. The angels fell silent, witnessing the sacred exchange. Your brokenness for his glory, your surrender for his sovereign seal. This is your calling in the unveiling. In this crooked, dying epoch, your very life has become a map for the lost. The words of Philippians 2:15 are now your living mandate, to shine like a star in a warped generation. Your blaze pierces the suffocating gloom, charting a path through the maze of deception for multitudes who have forgotten what light looks like. The stars in the cosmos are aligning to the rhythm of your obedience, their ancient light combining with your fire to tear through the veil of the age's great deceits. You are the torchbearer, the one who stands on the cliff's edge as the final night falls. Your flame a defiant signal that a king is coming and a kingdom is at hand. But this crown comes with a cost, and this light attracts the storm. The angels know that elevation invites hell's gale force envy. Weapons are being forged against you at this very moment in abyssal forges, their steel tempered with a unique and personal hatred. The enemy's jealousy over your anointing is not a petty thing. It is a consuming rage. But the promise of Isaiah 54:17 has become the very air you breathe, a shield that needs no conscious effort to raise. The angels watch as arrows of slander and accusation, loosed from the enemy's bow, turn to rust mid-flight and fall harmlessly at your feet. The storm that was sent to extinguish your flame now serves only to make it burn brighter, its fury a backhanded testimony to the fire it cannot defeat. You are the hidden coronet, your glory concealed from the world, but blinding in the sight of heaven. You are the runner from Hebrews 12:1, your every step taken before the great cloud of witnesses. They are not idle spectators, they are roaring. You on. Their voice is a thunderous chorus that drowns out the whispers of your accusers. You were not chosen to be a footnote. You were chosen to be the climax. You are crowned, you are sealed, and you are utterly unquenchable. Your simple, soul-shattering yes has become the very spark igniting eternity's final blaze. And so, we bring it all together, from the silent, stunned wings of heaven's highest host to the resounding crack of chains snapping across your bloodline. From the unbearable heat of rejection's forge that only refined your scars into gold, to the flash of mobilized might, as angelic armies receive their new decrees over your life. From a hidden mantle to a crowned and burning flame, you have done more than endure. You have stunned heaven, and now earth itself must yield to the testimony you have become. The story does not end with heaven's awe, it begins there. What was once a secret transaction between your soul and its creator must now become a public declaration, a landmark for a generation drowning in shadows. The time for hiddenness is ending. As the seals of this age begin to shatter and the skies themselves prepare to split like a scroll, your decision, made in the lonely silence of your Gethsemane, now stands as the remnant's rallying cry. It is a yes that echoes in the face of the dragon, a choice that mocks the beast's pathetic roar. The world is groaning, desperate for a truth that has flesh on it, for a hope that has not been polished by committee, but forged in the fire of personal trial. It is looking for you. It is looking for the light you carry, for the unshakable certainty that was purchased with your tears. The season of preparation, of being hammered into shape in the dark, is over. The unveiling crashes upon us like the seventh wave on Jericho's crumbling walls. Therefore, rise. Rise with that torch in your grip. The hidden crown that was placed upon your head in secret now begins to gleam with a visible light, catching the eyes of those who thought you were defeated. Generations who were destined for bondage will now read the hymn of your obedience and learn the melody of freedom. Your life is no longer your own. It is a song that heaven has written, and the time has come to sing it aloud. The gaze of heaven, which paused in shock, now burns hotter with anticipation. The angels are no longer still. They are leaning forward, waiting. The question that hangs in the balance of eternity is no longer what you have done, but what you will do now. Will you fan this holy fire, or will you let it flicker in the face of the final storm? Chosen kin, if this crown's weight now settles like holy fire on your brow, the time for silence is past. Etch "still chosen" in the comments below. Not as words on a screen, but as your verdict over every doubt, a decree sealed in heaven's highest court. Press the like button to blaze a trail of light for those who are faltering just behind you. Share this word to pass the torch through the storm-sieged gates of a world that has forgotten the way. Subscribe, not to a channel, but to a fellowship, a covenant to forge an unbreakable bond with the family of firewalkers. And if joy now surges through you like living waters, then pour out an offering. Let your gift be not a chain of obligation, but the wings that give this word flight, sending it to the lonely, the broken, and the chosen who do not yet know who they are. The angels stir once more. Their eternal symphony reignites, but this time it is different. It is woven with a new theme, a new name, a new story of impossible victory. Their songs now rise around you. You have stunned them with your choice. Now go stun the ages. Eternity awaits your next yes.